Gratitude is what we call a pro-social behavior or a pro-social mindset. But pro-social behaviors are basically any behavior or mode of thinking that allow us to be more effective in interactions with other people, including ourselves. Most of us need a gratitude practice. We need to do certain things in order to feel good and to feel happy. We actually have to put work into it. The main neuromodulators associated with gratitude and pro-social behaviors tends to be serotonin. Serotonin is released from a very small collection of neurons in the brainstem called the raphe, and the raphe neurons send these little wires that we call axons out to numerous places in the brain, and they tend to increase the activity of particular neural circuits that lend themselves to more approach, have a chemical that under certain circumstances is released in the brain that triggers the activity of neural circuits that makes the organism, you, more likely to stay in an interaction with something or even lean in and seek a more detailed interaction with that person, place, or thing. So what does an effective gratitude practice look like? Let's examine what an ineffective, what a poor gratitude practice looks like, because therein lies some really important information, including the fact that I think millions of other people out there are doing it wrong. Most gratitude practices that you see online and that people talk about in various talks and so forth involve something like writing down or reciting or thinking about 5 or 10 or 3 or 20 things that you're especially grateful for, and then really trying to feel into some of those, really try and think deeply about the emotions, the sensations, the perceptions that are associated with those particular people, places, and things on your list. There is some evidence that if there's a shift in so-called autonomic arousal during these gratitude practices, these ones that I'm calling ineffective, that they can be made slightly more effective. And it has been shown that if people are brought into a state of heightened sympathetic tone, meaning more alertness, then the intensity of the emotions that they experience in their gratitude practice is enhanced, and the effectiveness of that gratitude practice can be enhanced. This is seen nowadays as having people, for instance, cyclic hyperventilated breathing that's very intense. So the inhale, exhale very deeply for 25 or 30 breaths. Then people will sit in a meditative stance, or they'll focus on their notepad and paper, and they'll write out the things that they're grateful for, and then they'll really try and feel into those things, or they'll think about those things. And it makes perfect sense as to why enhancing autonomic arousal toward more alertness would create more robust feelings or more robust impact of these gratitude practices, because in that state you are more alert, and therefore you are able to bring more detail, more richness to the perception and the understanding of what those things on your list happen to be.
Understanding that every moment of your life is something to be grateful for, and that everything that shows up in your life is something that you will want to be expressing a sense of gratitude about. I speak often about how we take things for granted, and taking things for granted is one of the obstacles to having an attitude of gratitude. Taking things for granted very often, I've often said that I think we should have special days every year in which we appreciate all the different aspects of our being. You know, like we give thanks for our liver on Mondays, on the 3rd of January, Liver Appreciation Day. Or just try to imagine what it would be like if you didn't have that liver. There would be nothing for you to imagine. And then, for the air that we breathe, and for the ground that we walk upon, and for gravity, and for the food that we have, and for the sky, and for, our eyelids, which we just take for granted. Without them, how difficult it would be for us to get through even an hour of our day. And our toenails, and everything about ourselves, to begin to experience a sense of gratitude. Now, when we're talking about affirmations, and we're talking about manifestation, here we want to look at what it is we are asking to have manifested for ourselves. And remember, we are not creating anything, we're just redistributing, if you will. Everything that needs to be created is already in the universe. There's no place to go. I remember when the story was told of of Swami Muktananda, great spiritual teacher who was dying. And all of his devotees and students gathered around, and he was leaving. And he had announced that. His students were praying with him, and they were pleading with him, please don't go, Swami, please, we're not ready for you to leave. And he opened his eye and looked at them and said, don't be silly. Where could I go? Where is there to go? Everything is already here. And so, when you are manifesting and you are asking for things to show up in your life, as they begin to show up in your life, learning to be grateful for this. Now, that's not so difficult. Most of us say thank you. I have a little ritual that I do every day, and that is almost every day God sends money to me in some form, particularly when I'm running. It happens virtually every day of my life. And it's a little game, a mental game that I have played with myself. I'll be out running, and I'll be thinking about all of the abundance that has shown up in my life, and how grateful I am, and how grateful I am to have my children. One of the things that my wife and I practice regularly is telling our children how fortunate we feel to be their parents.
The more you're grateful for, the more God will give you to be grateful for. Because see, God, He real smart. He got this system set up real smart. So you can immediately increase your life by being grateful. Instead of complaining about what's going on. Man, I got to go to work today. Man, I got these kids. See, you asked for all this shit. Remember when you wanted a job? Remember when you wanted a baby? Remember when you wanted to get the new car? Well, the new car come with some bills. Well, remember when you wanted to get you a bigger place? You got the bigger place. It costs more money. You know what I learned? You can't cry about what's on your plate when your whole goal was to eat. You can't, man. And the moment you start showing God more gratitude, He'll give you more stuff, because He's such a fair God. You know, what He do is, He not gonna keep giving you stuff if what you got you can't handle already. So He ain't gonna put no more on you than you can bear. So while you tripping about all you got to do, He said, well, let me quit giving him stuff to do, because he already can't handle this here. You kill more blessings by not being grateful. That's the number one blessing blocker, lack of gratitude. That's the number one reason I have what I have, and that's the number one reason why I'm going to get more. Because I just stay grateful for what I have. And I'm busy, man. But over last year I was complaining a lot, and I couldn't understand why these few deals wasn't closing. I was on vacation this year. I was sitting on the boat. I was looking out over the water, and God He just showed it to me. He said, well, Steve, you've been complaining a lot about your workload, about how much you got. I can't give you no more because I don't want to tax you. I don't want to overburden you. I came back, told my wife that. We finished up the vacation. I came back. I changed everything. I wake up every morning with nothing but gratitude, and I became more efficient. And I'm telling you right now, 2 of them deals, I signed one yesterday because I figured it out. The cool thing about it is, it don't take God a long time to bless you. He starts immediately, man. Listen to me, y'all. Wake up every day and start being grateful. Wake up every day. Don't check your phone first. Don't check your texts and messages. Wake up every morning and just start thanking Him for just your life, your kids, your job, your house, your food, your clothes, your money, your car, your husband, your boyfriend. And then immediately after that, you'll have a better day. And then watch, He start giving you more stuff.
This day that you have been graced to breathe in and out thousands of times. This day where many of those breaths were taken for granted, you just expected the next one to come. But the truth is, there's no guarantee that the next one comes. This day how you started your day, what your thoughts were this morning, how you've carried yourself through this day, how you've been allowed to have encounters and experiences, some challenging, some more life-enhancing, that pushed you forward another day of being here on the planet Earth as a human being.